So, okay, let's first discuss what's an infection is. Since I'm an infectious disease specialist, so mag-infection 101 muna tayo. So, here's the format of my lecture. So, may overview tayo what is HIV and AIDS. So, we will know the difference kung anong HIV at saka AIDS. And then, how it's transmitted. So, how's the status of the Philippines regarding HIV, the signs and symptoms, paano madadiagnose, paano malalaman, and then the treatment and the prevention. Pero we'll not go on dun sa scientific details. More of an overview since this is a lay forum. Ayan. So, infection, 101. So, since I'm an infectious disease specialist, so basically, alam ko yan. Pero kayo din alam. So maraming mga pwedeng mikrobyo na mag-cause ng infection. So we have the bacteria, yung parasite, yung mga bulate, yung mga fungi, mga alipunga, and then of course the virus. So among those, yung virus yung pinaka-common. So among the viruses, ano yung mga alam yung infection na virus ang nakaka-infect? Rhinovirus. So, masyado siyang scientific. That can cause?
Cold.
Yun, mga common colds. Tama. So, common colds, dengue fever, yan, mga virus yan. Chickenpox, bulutong, and of course, HIV infection. Kung titignan nyo, yung sakit na makukuha nyo sa virus, pwedeng simple lang, pwedeng malala. So, and most viral infections, tinatawag silang self-limiting. Pag sinabing self-limiting, ibig sabihin, kahit hindi mo gamutin, gagaling ka. Yun yung mga sa common colds, tsaka sa dengue. Sa bulutong, minsan pwede tayo magbigay ng mga gamot para maibsan lang yung mga rashes. Pero mostly viral, self-limiting sila, hindi kailangan ng gamot. Pero sa HIV, iba yung course niya. So, mamaya, papakita ko kung paano ginagamot ang HIV. So, immune system, ito yung sinabi ni Ma'am kanina na kailangan natin i-emphasize para sa HIV. So, immune system comprises of a network of tissue cells and organs. So, basta ibig sabihin lang yan is those work together to keep us from getting infected from any kind of infection. Actually, the skin is considered as part of the immune system. Siya yung first line of defense, physical barrier. And then down to the kaloob-looban, yung mga cellular, mga cells. So, may mga immune system yan. So, sa lahat ng body system, siya yung hindi obvious. Kasi alam natin yung cardiovascular system, yung heart. So, pag respiratory, yung lungs. Yung immune system, it's a network. So, madami siya na hindi natin siya makikita mismo dun sa kung anong part siya ng katawan. Pero, important siya because it keeps us from having an infection. So, a normal person have an intact immune system. Kaya, si sir, may mga sakit ka ba ngayon? So, ibig sabihin, magandang immune system mo. So, yun din yung parang kaya kailangan daw natin mag-vitamins, ganyan, tapos kumain ng balanced diet to keep our immune system strong. So, ngayon, pupunta tayo. What is HIV infection? Next slide. So, HIV stands for Human Immunodeficiency Virus. So, ang virus na to, sa lahat ng mga viral infections, siya yung kakaiba. Kasi, this virus attacks the cells of your body's immune system. So, tong virus na to, hindi yung balat yung inaano niya. Merong mga cells sa ating katawan na inaatake niya. Next slide. So, ang cells na to, so sorry, we'll be getting technical kasi important na malaman nyo, yung CD4. So, maririnig nyo to mostly kapag especially dun sa mga patients na may HIV. So, the virus attacks the body's immune system, specifically the CD4, which help the immune system fight off infection. So, yung mga CD4 na yan, makikita yan dun sa mga puting dugo, so white blood cells, that play a major role to protect our body from infection. Next slide. So ayan, pinapakita lang niya na yung HIV, i-attack niya yung CD4. So, once na-attack niya yung CD4, masisira yung CD4. So, kapag nasira yung CD4, kukonti ang CD4 mo. So, kapag kumonti ang CD4 mo, bababa ang immune system mo, magiging prone ka sa infection. So, yan. If left untreated, so, HIV reduces the number of CD4 cells in the body, kaya magiging prone ka sa mga infections, and later on, yung mga infections na yon pwedeng mag-cause ng cancer. Pero yung most common pa din na deaths sa HIV is due to infections. So kaya, in a sense, kapag nagka-HIV ka, the HIV will attack your CD4, so the CD4 will lower down, magdi-decrease, so prone to infections. Once you get infected, hindi yun malalabanan ng immune system, dun magkakaroon ng complications yung person, at dun siya eventually mamamatay. So I would like to introduce to you yung parang politically, parang ginagamit na namin ngayon. Baka kasi na rin na PL-HIV. So tinatawag namin sila people living with HIV. Yun yung ginagamit namin ngayon term sa kanila. So baka naka-encounter kayo kung ano yung PL-HIV. Pero yan yung term na ginagamit namin. So yan, this is just a diagram. So if you're a normal person with normal CD4, so mafa-fight mo yung infections. Whereas those people living with HIV, so wala na silang shield. So they are prone to infections. So, next slide. So now, what is the difference between HIV and AIDS? So, tingnan muna natin kung may nakakaalam. Si Ma'am. Pag, Ma'am, binolunteer ka na ni Trixie, Ma'am Erica, kapag AIDS naman,
Pag kasi po may HIV ka, so yung virus po yun, yung tinatawag na AIDS. So parang yung AIDS, galing siya sa HIV, hindi yung virus.
ulit.
Yung po, yung, di ba yung AIDS po, nagkakause siya dahil sa HIV. So yung AIDS, virus siya.
Okay, so okay lang, sige. Any other idea kung ano naman yung AIDS? So medyo tama si Ma'am. Ayusin lang natin, Ma'am. Si Ma'am, volunteer ka din ni Ma'am Joy. No idea. Okay, sige. Pwede na. Ito. So yung HIV, that's the virus. So that's the virus per se. Kaya nga, people living with HIV. So, ibig sabihin, sila yung, imbis na kasi sabihin mo, infected ka with HIV, so they just use the term, people living with HIV. So, HIV is the virus mismo. Pag AIDS, so ano muna pala ibig sabihin ng AIDS? So, acquired immune deficiency syndrome. So, ito yung stage of infections that occurs when your immune system is badly damaged na and you become vulnerable to opportunistic infections. So ito na yung parang later stage na ng taong may HIV. So, ibig sabihin, if you're infected with HIV, hindi automatically may AIDS ka. Yung mga may AIDS, yun na yung may yung later stage, yung may mga opportunistic infections. Ano ibig sabihin ng opportunistic infection? So from the word, yung mga opportunista, ito kasi yung, for example, Sister ulit, sorry ko. So yung mga fungi or mga bacteria, madami tayo sa katawan. So, Sister, meron ka niyan ngayon. Pero since he's a normal individual, normal CD4 count, normal immune system, so nalalabanan yun ng katawan. Unlike the HIV na mababa yung CD4, pangit yung immune system, so prone siya sa infections. So yun yung mga opportunistic na parang dahil itong mga microorganism na to, inaatake sila kasi nga wala silang panlaban. So ano yung mga examples ng opportunistic infections? Ito yung mga tuberculosis, yung mga severe pneumonia, mga severe brain infections, tapos yung mga paulit-ulit na severe infections din, gaya ng mga infection sa balat. Huwag kayong matakot dun sa TB, baka kasi may kakilala kayo may TB, ay may AIDS ka. Parang ganon. Hindi ganon yun. Ang idea lang kasi with the tuberculosis and the HIV, kagaya din nung immune system. So, according to studies kasi, yung mga taong nagkakaroon ng tuberculosis, mababa yung immune system nila. Kaya, isa din sila dun sa mga nire-recommend naming mga patients, na, for example, may TB, na pinapatest namin, in-encourage namin magpatest ng HIV. Pero, yun nga, the fact na TB kasi, yung Philippines kasi, is a TB country. Kaya, prevalent talaga yung TB sa atin. Pero yun nga, para lang siyang, hindi naman red flag, parang if ever a person has TB, siguro ina-advisean namin na magpa-test ng HIV. Pero wag niyong sabihin, ay, TB, may TB ka, may HIV ka. Hindi ganon. So, it's part of an opportunistic infections. And mind nyo kasi, yung TB, hindi lang siya sa baga. Merong TB sa balat, sa tiyan, sa mga kulani. So, madaming form ng TB. And then, severe pneumonia. So, yung mga nagkakapulmonya, usually kasi yan, ang mga nagkakapulmonya ay yung mga matatanda. So, yung mga lolo't lola nyo. Kasi, age then affects the immune system. So, kapag matanda, bumababa din yung, hindi naman CD4, yung immune system nila. So, kaya yung mga lolo't lola natin, prone to infections, pneumonia, okay lang yun kasi nga, mababa. Pero if, halimbawa, 24-year-old, nagkaroon ng pneumonia, o sige, baka saan siya nagpunta. Pero kapag paulit-ulit, kailangan, kaming as a doctor, nag-iisip na kami, bakit paulit-ulit ang infection nito? So, yun yung mga opportunistic infection. So, as I've said, AIDS is the final stage of HIV infection. But not everyone who has HIV advances to this stage. Kaya, yun yung importance ng paggamot para maagapan yung pagpunta ng taong may HIV sa AIDS. Next, how is HIV transmitted? Paano ko naman tayo mahawa with HIV? So there are different mode of transmission, pero hindi ko lang nasama sa slide, basta yung mga pwede ma-infect is through blood, through seminal fluid, tapos pwede ding seminal fluid, tapos mga other bodily fluids. Pero may mga condition yan. So, first, is it true? Sabihin niyo kung tama. I can get HIV by being around people who are HIV positive. So, no. Mosquito spreads HIV? Yes. Hindi, joke lang. No. Kung hindi, lahat tayo may HIV na. So, no. You can't get HIV from oral sex. Okay, tingnan natin mamaya. I'm straight, I don't use IV drugs, I won't get HIV. Okay, later sasagutin natin yan. So, you can get HIV via, first, may keyword dun unprotected sex. So, if you have sex with an HIV infected, so, yun nga, body fluid exchange, so you will get HIV pag unprotected. Kaya, usually we advise, yun nga, mga condom, ganyan. And then, pregnancy, childbirth, and breastfeeding. So, kapag yung mother infected, higher chance na yung baby magkakaroon ng HIV. Pero, chance lang hindi automatic. So, kaya may mga special care na ginagawa for the HIV pregnant. So, parang binabantayan sila, tsaka yung baby din. And then, they can get also through breastfeeding. So, kasi prone din kasi yung baby, especially, for example, nagsuck siya nung fluid ng mother, tapos vulnerable pa yung mga intestines niya. So, kapag nagkasugat-sugat kasi yon, pwedeng mahawa siya with the virus. And then, injecting drugs. Actually, hindi yung drugs. Yung, yung karayom. So, since it's blood, tapos, siguro kasi, hindi, clueless kasi kayo, baka feeling ko wala nagda-drug sa inyo. So, meron kasing certain population, especially in Cebu, so they share, yung mga drug addict, so, IV drug user, they share needles. So, parang, sabi sa mga interviews, it's, bakit di nila pinapalitan, yung kasing excitement daw, nung pag magkakasama sila, magpapalitan ng needle, ay magpapalitan lang ng karayom, mag-insertan. So, yun yung parang excitement nila. Kagaya din ng oral sex, sugat-sugat, tapos, syempre, parang kapag may touch dun sa bodily fluids, so, may chance na maka-acquire ng infection. And last is blood transfusion or any products na bibigay sa tao. So, yung mga, kaya, may nasalinan na ba ng dugo dito? So, wala pa naman. So, yung mga blood na yung mga dugo na sinasalinan sa amin, lahat yan nakascreen for HIV. So, kaya kung, sino na lang nag-donate ng dugo? Ayan. So, di ba may mga questions regarding HIV, sexual encounter, nagpatattoo, ganyan. So, lahat yun kasi tinatanong para to make sure na yung ibibigay na blood dun sa tao is free from HIV. Plus the fact na itetest din nila yan. So, importanteng malaman nyo to, yung mga transmission na yan. Bakit? So, yan is para malaman natin kung paano natin i-prevent and of course, to protect ourselves from HIV. So, yan na, unprotected sex, pregnancy, childbirth, and breastfeeding, injecting drugs, blood transfusion. So, what is MSM? So, another term that we use now, especially for us, mga healthcare workers. So, ang MSM is male having sex with male or man having sex with men. So, especially when we gather data kasi, yun kasi yung mga risk factor. Later, papakita ko yung data. So, para at least, baka ma-encounter nyo yung term na to MSM. So, male having sex with male. Kasi hindi namin sila tiniterm na, for example, we're discussing a case, ito, bading bakla, ganyan. No, we use this term, MSM. Okay, HIV is not transmitted by insect bites. Hindi. Toilet seats. So, hindi yan nakakahawa kung uupo ka after nung patient na may HIV sa toilet. Kissing, wala. No documented cases na na-acquire yung HIV through kissing. Sharing utensils, hindi din. And of course, touching, wala. So, lahat ng mga nabanggit dyan, false. So, they are all myths. Okay? So, you cannot get HIV by having people around, di siya na-spread sa mosquito. You can get HIV through oral sex. And kahit mga straight, and kahit hindi nag-IV drug use, there are population na may HIV. Okay, next. This is very important. So, ano ng status ng HIV in the Philippines? So, sa other countries kasi like Thailand, di ba, parang few years ago, Thailand, ang daming cases ng HIV. Pero sila, bumababa na yung rates nila. So, their health programs are doing well in lowering down the cases of HIV. Kaya so sa atin, medyo not good. So why? Ay, sorry, pangit. So, so the Philippines is one of the 9 countries that has increasing cases. So dumadami pa din yung mga cases natin. And there has been 50% growth annually in HIV/AIDS cases in the Philippines. And according to the data, every 3 hours daw, someone in the Philippines get HIV. So, dumadami yung cases natin ngayon sa HIV. So, this is just part of a June 2016. So, nakuha ko to dun sa isang article. So, 95% are males. Tapos, 50% nasa age group of 25 to 34. And then, 27% is around 15 to 24. So, ang median age nung June 2016 na yan ay 28 years old. So, ayun, 777 through sexual contact pa din. There are 60 cases at that time sharing needles among infected drug users. And then, 4 around mother-to-child transmission. And among those 777, 89% transmitted through sexual contact between males. Okay. So, this was released by DOH. Noong 2008, per day daw, isa lang. So, kung 2008 yun, kung per day, approximately 360. So, noong 2014, 17 cases daw per day. Pero ngayon, nung June 2016, 26 cases per day. So talagang dumadami yung cases talaga natin. And as shown, tingnan nyo yung graph. So around 1996, siguro around 100 lang yan. Tapos nung 2006, around mga 250 to 300. Pero eto na tayo ngayon. 2016, almost approaching na tayo sa 10,000. So ito, January 2017. So yung 2017 na yun, hanggang January pa lang yan. So they're expecting na mas mataas na naman siya this year. So as of January 2017, NCR pa din yung highest, 36,000. Followed by Region 4A na 18% and then Region 3 and 11%. So the reason, yung mga, tawag dito, mga red light district, something like that. So syempre yung mga sa Manila, tapos sa Region 4A, sa Region 3, sa Angeles City, Region 7, andyan yung Cebu City. Yung Cebu kasi doon yung maraming IV drug use. Okay, is it true? I could tell if my partner was HIV positive. So, let's see. So, what are the symptoms of HIV infection? So, within 2 to 4 weeks after exposure to HIV, many but not all people who are infected experience a flu-like symptoms, often described as worst flu ever. May naka-experience na ba ng worst flu ever? Ako, may flu din ako ngayon. Actually, hindi natin, yan kasi yung mahirap dun sa age. Yan kasi tatawag na acute HIV syndrome or symptom. Hindi mapapansin yan kasi akala natin flu, parang flu lang siya. At mind you, lahat ng flu naman ganun, di ba? Parang masakit yung katawan mo, ganun. And syempre, hindi mo naman kinakalculate yan na, ay, 2 weeks ago, nakipag-sex ako, tas may flu ako ngayon, may HIV. Hindi siya ganun. So, yun lang yung parang expected for a patient. Pero yun nga, hindi mo kasi siya masasabi na may HIV ako ngayon after 2 to 4 weeks of exposure. So the stages of AIDS, so yun nga, yung acute symptoms. So dun sa taas, so yan, nagkakaroon ka ng sakit ng ulo, lagnat, sore throat, muscle soreness, rash, mouth and genital ulcer, mga kulani, tapos joint pain, diarrhea, night sweats. So napaka-general. So, di ba, kahit siguro mga nanay at tatay nyo may nararamdaman dyan. And then we have this important clinical latency, stage 2. So, ibig sabihin, parang wala kang nararamdaman. Tapos, biglang severe symptoms na, stage 3. Kaya, important kasi na you get tested, especially dun sa mga high risk. Kasi, habang nandun ka pa lang sa acute symptoms at di ka pa nagde-develop dun sa stage 3, maagapan na siya to stage 3. Actually, hanggang clinical latency lang ang maano ng HIV eh. Pero kapag di siya naagapan, magkakaroon ka na ng severe symptoms or yung AIDS na. Sana maintindihan nyo to. Pero this is a very important slide. Okay. Ayun. So, familiar na kay CD4, di ba? So, si CD4, siya yung white cells na panlaban. Itong HRV RNA, ito yung virus. Basta virus. So, si green, si virus, si CD4, si panlaban. Ganun na lang para simple. So, ito yung sinasabi natin. So, week 1, ito kasi yung magkakaroon ka ng flu-like symptoms. Ito, primary infection. So, kung titignan nyo, si virus, aakyat lang siya by week, mga 8 months. Tapos, bababa ng konti. Magki-clinical latency siya. So, parang ibig sabihin, parang wala, tulog lang siya. Tingnan nyo yung years. Up to 8 years, pwede ka siyang mag-clinical latency. Ito yung panlaban, di ba? Si CD4. So, unti-unti siyang bababa. So, parang dito, wala kang nararamdaman. Yung mga taong may HIV dito, walang nararamdaman for 7 to 8 years. Tapos biglang pag tumaas na to, bagsak na to, eto na, sina-opportunistic infection. Dito ka na magkaka-HIV. Mag-AIDS. So by year 9 to year 10. So yung mga cases na yon, ibig sabihin, dati yung mga nagka-AIDS na na-diagnose na AIDS na, ibig sabihin, around 5 to 10 years ago pa yon nahawa. Hindi lang naagapan. So, kaya, ang goal nung testing is, habang andito ka pa, malaman na natin para maagapan towards to AIDS. So, sa mga taong to, si Sir, sino sa tingin mo sa kanila may HIV?
Yung yun po, yun nandun po.
Judgy si Sir. So, pinakita ko lang yung picture na yan. So, hindi mo malalaman kung sino may HIV sa kanila. Actually, kinuha ko lang yan random sa internet. So, many HIV do not have symptoms. They don't look or feel sick most of the time. Often, people only feel sick when they progress towards HIV. So, hindi nyo alam, yung mga nakasakay nyo sa jeep, nakausap nyo, naging customer nyo, mga estudyante nyo, may HIV sila. So, hindi natin alam. So, yun yung sa HIV eh. May stage kasi na asymptomatic sila, wala silang nararamdaman. So, we could not tell kung may HIV ang isang tao. Pero as clinicians, for the AIDS, yung mga may AIDS na, may clue na kami na AIDS na tong taong to. Yun nga, kung tuloy-tuloy yung lagi siya nagkaka-pneumonia, meron kasing mga specific na sakit na medyo technical na para malaman nyo. May mga specific na sakit na kapag nagkaroon yung isang taong ganon, ay AIDS na to. Pero para sa inyo, basta yung mga nagkakaroon ng recurrent pneumonia, yun, parang siguro advisean nyo na sila na baka mababa yung immune system, ganyan. So ito yung mga celebrities with HIV. Yan, sina Charlie Sheen tsaka Magic Johnson. So, di ba, they look normal lang. So ito, mga patients with, actually AIDS na to. So yan, nagkakaroon yan ng mga parang mga whitish sa bunganga. Tapos, it's a example of a cancer due to HIV infection. So, actually, di ba sabi ko kanina, may mga infections na mag-lead to cancer. So, this is a Kaposi sarcoma, isang virus na kapag nahawa ka doon, magde-develop to a cancer. Ayan, nagkakaroon ng mga pneumonia, may mga rashes, and papayat sila. Yan yung clinical, yung wasting na sinasabi namin, na parang unti-unting kinakain ng katawan, so sobrang pumapayat sila at nagiging malnourished. Yan yung mga taong meron ng AIDS. So, how will I know if I have HIV infection? So, the risk is not knowing. The risk is not knowing. So, kung hindi mo alam na may HIV ka, meron ka daw risk kasi hindi mo alam ang status mo, especially if you are high risk. So, sino yung mga high risk individual pala? Hindi ko na lang diniscuss dyan. So, ibig sabihin sila yung mga prone na magkaroon ng HIV infections.
Mga sexually active individuals.
So, i-qualify natin ang sexually active kasi parents mo.
Sexually active with multiple partners.
Okay, yon. So, sexually active with multiple partners. Okay. Ano pa? So, sexually active na unprotected din. Okay. Sino pa? Mga professions. Sige, pwede. Doctors daw, high risk. Actually, may risk kami, pero konti pa lang yung documented case ng exposure yung pag mabablood prick ka. Actually, it's 0.03% lang kasi yung risk of transmission from the blood. Pero may mga cases, and actually you're right, may mga healthcare worker, nurses, all those who touches the needles and bodily fluids, may risk talaga sila. Pero little lang. Sino pa? Mga professions, mga workers na at risk for HIV. Sige. Qualify the statement. So, bakit OFWs? Okay, so, yun. Yun. Sex workers, tapos healthcare workers, tapos multiple sex partners. Okay. Dali. May ano ba dito? Sir, health. Yung mga sa Pinoy Plus. Call center agents daw. At risk? Okay. Si sir muna mag-explain why.
Sir, regarding po dun sa call center agent kasi di ba, stereotyping sila kasi kung titingnan po natin yung mga nasa graveyard, mga call center, ay panggabi. At kung titingnan din naman natin ay halo-halo din yung tao. Kaya ang akala nila, ang karamihan ng mga nasa call center ay mga HIV positive. Pero hindi po yun.
Okay, so that's the correct term. So sige, i-classify na lang natin. So mga at risk for the profession, mga profession or workers for having HIV is, yun nga, yung mga sex workers, tapos at some points yung mga healthcare physician. So medyo nasi-stereotype tayo with the call center agents, OFW, tsaka yung mga seafarers. Because hindi dahil dun sa nature of work nila, it's because siguro yung environment of na medyo inducive to do something na hindi maganda. So, ganun na lang isipin natin. Kasi, mahirap kasi baka may call center agent tayo, sabihin natin magpa-test ka. So, yun yung mga nasi-stereotype. Pero actually, ganito na lang. There are a lot of cases na yung mga call center agent, seafarers, matas yung rate ng HIV. Pero, siguro, more of dahil hindi dun sa nature of work nila. Siguro dun na lang kung anong nangyayari dun. Parang ganun na lang isipin nyo. So, basically, yung mga sex workers. So, yun yung actually target din namin sa for the screening. And yun nga, siguro kasi, yung mga seafarers and the call center agents, baka meron silang multiple sexual partners tapos unprotected pa. So, ganun, let's put that way na lang kasi baka mas stigmatize din sila. Okay. Para malaman na may HIV ka, so of course, it's through blood testing. So, pwedeng prick, pwedeng kukuha ng blood. So, there are things to remember about HIV testing. So, meron tayong AO from the government. So, there are policies and guidelines in the conduct of HIV counseling and testing in community and healthcare facilities. So, the HIV testing is mandatory or voluntary? So, it's voluntary. And, yun nga, kailangan yung maging aware kayo is before you get HIV testing, dapat merong counseling. So, hindi naman yung counsel na parang actually, binago na kasi nila ngayon to. So, at least may mag-explain sa inyo nung procedure, may mag-explain sa iyo what is HIV. Actually, this could be a form of counseling na eh. Kasi ang goal ng counseling is, first is, kailangan malaman nung tao bakit siya nagpapatest, and then, they have to explain what's the procedure, and they have to facilitate the testing. So, ito yung pre-test counseling, yun nga, explain HIV infection. So, ito na yung ginagawa ko. So, just in case gusto nyo magpa-test mamaya, mapapadali yung buhay nila kasi na-explain ko na. And then, explain the HIV testing. So, kung paano siya ginagawa. And of course, get the consent. So, hindi siya sapilitan. So, dapat willing yung tao magpa-HIV test and facilitate testing. So, I've mentioned, HIV testing is voluntary. Ito yung another thing na gusto kong emphasize, the window period. So, window period is the time between initial HIV infection and the time when the body has produced HIV antibodies to detect by an HIV antibody test. Ang antibody, may idea ba kayo na antibody? So, for example, ayan, si virus yan. Ito si virus. Kapag pumasok sa katawan si virus, may lalaban dyan. So, magproproduce siya ng mga antibodies. Itong mga yan. So, kapag nag-produce si antibodies, magsistay yan sa katawan. So, yung HIV testing natin, ang dinidetect niya is itong antibody. Kung nag-produce na ba yung katawan. Okay? Ang ibig sabihin ng window period, na-infect. So, pumasok si virus. May time muna kasi na mag-produce muna siya ng antibodies. So, kapag maaga kang nagpa-test, baka makatch ka as negative. So, yun yung tinatawag na window period. So, for example, nakipag-sex ka, tapos with HIV patient, tapos nahawa ka, tapos nagpa-test ka after 1 week. Hindi pa na-produce yung enough yung antibodies. Nung nagpa-test ka, negative pa siya lalabas. Kasi hindi pa ganun ka-sufficient yung antibodies na na-produce. So, kaya ini-emphasize namin itong window period kasi baka nagpa-test ka within the window period. Ang window period na inaano ngayon is at least 3 months, 3 to 6 months. So, kung may sexual exposure ka within 3 months, advisable na wag ka munang magpa-test. kasi nasa window period ka pa. Or kung nagpa-test ka at negative ka ngayon, ina-advisean pa din namin na magpa-test after 3 months na hindi nakikipagtalik or any exposure para sure tayo na wala ka dun sa window period at negative ka. So, yan. Ito lang yung diagram regarding window period. So, exposure, tapos, ito yung antibody. So, itong amount na antibody na to, dun pa lang siya madedetect. So, kaya, dito sa window period, negative ka pa. So, HIV testing, there are 2 phases. So, meron tayong screening. So, yung gagawin sa inyo is the screening. If ever ba, sir, nag-test positive, kayo nang bahala magpapadala. Okay, sige. So there are 2 phases of HIV. So, screening at saka confirmatory. So, yung screening na yan, locally, actually, yung test pala, so, pag nagpa-test ka ng HIV, automatic screening, confirmatory. Kapag screening negative ka na. Kapag screening positive, kailangan pa siyang i-confirm. So, yun, dadalhin siya sa isang testing center sa San Lazaro para i-confirm dun sa mga series of mga test nila dun kung talagang positive ka sa HIV. So, ayan yung parang diagram. So, screening test, kapag negative ka, kung negative ka ngayon, sige, mag-celebrate ka na, negative ka na. Tapos, kapag nag-positive, ano pa kasi yan? So, dadalhin pa yung sample para ma-confirm na positive ka. So, and also take note yung window period. So, things to remember, post-test counseling. Part din to di ba may pre-test counseling? So, in-explain HIV, in-explain yung procedure. Pag post-test counseling, so ito naman yung explain your result. So, kung negative or positive. So, kapag negative, as a counselor din kasi, sasabihin niya na negative. Pero, hindi lang kasi siya matatapos doon. So, in the first place, bakit ka nagpa-HIV testing? Especially yung mga high risk. So, yung mga high-risk patients, yung mga laging nakikipag-sex, multiple partners, ito kasi yung time, yung post-test counseling, at the same time, ito yung part na i-educate din yung tao, tapos para lalong ma-prevent yung HIV. So, i-advisean siya kung ano yung mga dapat na hindi na gawin para hindi na siya maka-acquire ng HIV. If positive naman, ito kaka-release pa lang. Pag sa screening, dati kasi kapag screening positive ka, ipapa-confirm muna sa San Lazaro or sa testing center tapos kapag lumabas yung result, doon pa lang bibigay yung gamot. Ang naging lapse kasi nila doon, halimbawa, nagpa-test ka nga kayo dito, nag-positive kayo dito, minsan kasi hindi na sila bumabalik. Sa sobrang matagal din kasi yung result na bumalik para i-confirm. So ngayon, maglalabas sila ng bagong order na once na nag-positive ka na sa screening test, i-refer na yung patient na yun sa treatment hub. Ang treatment hub, yun yung kung saan kumukuha ng gamot yung mga HIV patients. At yung gamot na yun, libre. Later, di-discuss ko. Okay. Next. If I test HIV positive, my life is over? No. Madaling sabihin sa atin. Pero syempre, may mga ano yan. Syempre, the answer is no. Pero, iba pa din pag sila. Maraming pinagdadaanan sa buhay yan. So, common question, is there a cure for HIV and AIDS? Who says yes? Who says no? Sinong nagsasabing may cure sa HIV? Sino nagsasabing wala? Okay. So, the statement, there's no cure for HIV and AIDS yet. So, wala pa. Pero ngayon, international agencies as hindi sila tumitigil para magkaroon ng vaccine, para mag-develop ng drug na ma-eradicate talaga yung HIV. Pero for now, wala pa talaga. But there are treatment that can control HIV and enable people to live a long and healthy life. So may mga treatment tayo para, yan. Kasi if left untreated, HIV can lead to AIDS. Kaya treatment matters. So anong ginagawa ng treatment? So yun nga, si viral load. So ang gagawin ng treatment, papababain niya yung viral load. Tapos papataasin naman niya si CD4. So para makafight ng infection yung may HIV. So yan, yun yung mga tinatawag na antiretroviral drugs. So they decreases the viral load and increases the CD4. So decrease the chance of acquiring infection. So kaya makakapamuhay ng normal yung mga tao may HIV as long as they are compliant and adherent to the medications. So bear in mind, patients will not die of HIV. They will die because of complications. Yun yung mga matitigas ang ulo na ayaw mag-take ng gamot. Yun nga, as nasabi ko kanina, usually kasi, di ba yung mga Pinoy, ang ano natin, medyo hindi tayo masyadong health conscious. So usually, dumadating na sila yung mga pagmalala na, doon lang nagpapatingin. Kaya mostly, yung mga cases na nakikita namin sa hospital, kasi hospital-based ako, yun na talaga yung mga AIDS. So, doon lang namin nakaka-catch up na may AIDS sila kasi darating sila, malala yung pneumonia, meron silang mga severe infection sa buong paa, tapos pag tinest namin, positive sila. Tapos yun din yung mga in denial din kasi meron mga tao din kasi na makikita mo yan eh. So, kasi nag-rotate din ako sa RITM. RITM is a treatment hub. Yung mga doon, outpatient, mga kamukha nyo lang, hindi, yung mga lalaki, mga ganun lang sila. Kasi, ano sila eh, health conscious and they have positive outlook sa life. So, nag-ano sila, compliant sila dun sa medication, regular follow-up. So, nagtatrabaho sila. They have regular jobs, white and blue-collar jobs. So, sila yung nag-normal. Actually, nagpapa-clearance pa nga sila sa amin para for kung pwede na sila makapasok. Tapos yun nga, yung psychological kasi ng mga taong may AIDS talaga is yun yung mga ayaw talagang humingi. So kasi yun nga may mga stages kasi ng acceptance eh. So yun yung mga taong medyo pumupunta sa AIDS. So yung matter nung kung paano niya tatanggapin yung kanyang sakit. So definitely if you're tested HIV, your life is not over. But mind you, I don't need to worry about getting HIV because drugs will keep me well. Okay. So, as I've mentioned, ARVs are for free. So, libre lang yan. Kaso, they have serious side effects. Hindi lang siya biro-biro. Madami silang tinitake na gamot. Siguro mga 3 to 4 components in one take. And, mga side effects, pwede kang bumaba yung anemia, yung pulang dugo mo, tataas yung mga cholesterol, may gamot dyan na magkakaroon ka na parang hallucination, vivid dreams, madaming side effects yan. And meron silang tinatawag na minsan yung mga nagtitake din na magkakaroon sila ng fatigue sa, parang drug fatigue, parang gano'n, na suddenly magsastop lang sila kasi pagod na silang uminom. So, yun yung mga commonly na-encounter namin eh. And, yun nga, nagkakaroon din ng mga drug resistance. So, ang drug resistance, ibig sabihin, may time na baka hindi e-effect yung gamot dun sa taong ito. So, they have to adjust or magbigay ng panibago or mas malakas na gamot dun sa taong yun. Okay. So, kailangan mag-worry pa din tayo about HIV. So, this is 2016. So, figure lang na ito yung mga reported cases. Pero ito lang yung nagtitake. So, ito yung reason bakit gusto nila na kapag nag-test na sila for positive sa screening pa lang, they will be referred to a treatment hub kasi para makakuha sila ng gamot. Libre naman eh. Tingnan niyo yung ano. Kaya marami nagkaka-AIDS talaga kasi hindi almost equal yung taong nare-report dun sa mga taong nagtitake ng gamot. So, down to the last part. How is HIV prevented? So, prevention is better than cure, especially when something has no cure. So, prevention talaga. Kaya, itong slides na to, tandaan nyo na unprotected sex, ito na lang. Kasi wala namang, yung mabubuntis sa inyo. Ito, unprotected sex, injecting drugs. So, anong gagawin? So, avoid sex with multiple partners, have protective sex using condoms, ito, protection din. Tapos, use a sterile needle to inject drugs, boost your immunity. Pero ito, more of supplemental lang. Ayan, abstain. Be faithful. So, ABC. Or, kung hindi mo talaga magawa lahat yan, condom daw. So, that's the ABC. And then, the stigma, mataas pa din dito. So, I hope this lay forum will open you, will widen your perspective regarding HIV. So, hindi talaga siya, hindi siya nakakatakot na sakit. Walang cure, pero may treatment. They can live a normal life like us. They will not infect you. They will not harm you. So, unless nga kung makipag-ano ka with unprotected sex. So, yun din yung inaano namin ng HIV awareness. Hindi lang yung kailangan maging aware kayo. As much as possible, gusto namin tanggalin yung stigma para kapag nawala yung stigma, there will be more people na open sa HIV, open magpa-test. So, as this statement, so, test more, matreat namin early, and stay safe. So, ma-end namin yung HIV. So, with that, thank you.
Thank you, Army. Nandito talaga. Doon na. Thank you so much. So, natuto naman tayo. Ako din, dami kong natutunan. Pero mamaya, kung gusto nyo gumanti kay Doc Armin, kasi ginaganon niya kayo. Sabi ko na may recitation eh. Mamaya, please reserve your questions. I know you have many questions in mind. And then kung meron pang mga kailangang ma-clarify, we're gonna have Q&A portion later. But we're gonna have one person who's a member of our church and who has proven that him is greater than HIV. Let me call on Mr. Jebsen. Go.
Thank you. Kamusta? Hello. Good morning. So my name is Jebsen. Yeah, kamusta? So yeah, it's been a while. No? I last testified way back 2012. So my name is Jebsen Gamido. I'm a seafarer, and yun. So pardon if my words don't flow eloquently because some of the things that I have to say or share is ngayon ko lang ulit na bisita, no? So meron tayong mga bibisitahing mga nakaraan sa buhay ko. Okay lang ba? No, this is not an attempt for attention or what, but this is my church kasi, and I've been doing a lot of talks inside and outside of the country. And finally, once upon a time, Ate Shalene and I were talking as well. And finally, something relevant like this will be, alam mo yan, kapag-uusapan sa simbahan because it's not being talked about in the family. And alam mo yan, di ba, dapat masaya tayo. Diba? Wala naman namatay, no? Hindi pa ako mamamatay. So, yun. Let's start. So, yun. How do we go about this? So, ayun. I'm 26 years old. And growing up, obvious naman na I'm Chinese, di ba? I'm a Filipino-Chinese. And sa family namin, it's conservative, let's say. My father is a seafarer as well. So, most of the time, he's not here. Malayo siya. So growing up, I'm looking for that father figure Nakaka-relate yung iba, no? This is a fatherless generation, sabi nga nila. So, meron akong ganong situation in my life na nakikita ko parati sa bahay, my mother, babae, and my sister. So, I have a younger sister. And then, ayun, parang ever since when I was a child, alam ko na sa sarili ko that something is different from me when it comes to my sexuality, na that I am not straight, ganyan. And alam mo yun, mararamdaman mo yun sa sarili mo. And may ganong struggle growing up. Academically, okay naman. Consistently honor student during my elementary and high school. And then, ayun lang, pag bata ka, you learn about sex through what? Before, nung mga time namin, CD pa yata yung mga time namin, when you watch porn, di ba? CD pa kasi, sorry if you will be surprised with the way I speak kasi I'm just being honest here. No? This will be raw, this will be honest as possible. Okay ba tayo doon? And, yun, no? So yung time na yun, you get to know about porn. And nung time na yun, I watch yung yung hetero pa, no? Ganyan. And, but I know in myself na something is different. And then, when I was in high school, meron akong girlfriend, no? Sobrang mahal na mahal ko yun. Sobrang mahal na mahal ko siya. Kaya every time I talk about her, kinikilig pa rin ako. Anyhow, yun. And then, yun nga, lumalaki ka, you're looking for love at the wrong places because my father nasa ibang bansa, darating siya, mag-duty free kami, tama ba? Bibili pa bango, chocolate, ganyan, Pringles, etc. So, ganun yung life ko. And, parang, if you're gonna look at me, parang sabi nga, nurse daw ako, parang kasi clean image, ganyan, walang, parang, okay naman, honor student, ganyan. So, but then again, meron akong meron kang baho na nakatago. And then, one time, my father asked me to go on, tawag dito, mag-seaman kasi isa seafarer. So, I tried and took the exam. It's an academy in Mariveles, Bataan. So, I entered there and na-in-love ako dun sa environment because parang sa challenge ako. Nakikita ko parang okay naman. Ang ganda ng lugar and all, it's very promising. So I gave up my dream of having a course of, let's say, broadcast communication, somewhere in that line. Kasi alam ko yun yung strength ko eh. So, ayun, nag-apply ako dun sa pagmamarino. So, nagseaman ako. As dun sa loob, it was a different phase in my life. I started to meet, kasi puro lalaki doon eh. So, doon na nabago yung kasi syempre sabay-sabay kami naliligo, ganyan. 'Di ba? Parang sausage party, ganyan, 'di ba? Parang ang saya-saya, 'di ba? So, sabi ko, ito na, pak. 'Di ba? Pak na pak, 'di ba? So, ganun. And then, kasi walang communication as a plebo kasi tawag din. As a first year college, you don't have any access for electronics. So sulat-sulat kami noon. Bago ka sumulat, pupush up ka muna. Kaya may equivalent na na parang basta ganun. And then to cut the long story short, nag-break kami ng girlfriend ko. And then nag-break kami, sabi ko sa sarili ko, dun sa academy, parang okay, sige. Pag first year ka, regimental, so parang lahat kami, laki ng boses, naka-tune, naka-attention, naka-uniform, maayos lahat. So it's very masculine. And parang naging, naka-cage ako noong time na yon. And ayun nga, dun sa loob ng academy, nabubuli ako during my first year kasi parang yung alam mo yun, may mga there are gay people who are alam na ng buong mundo, sila na lang din alam na bading sila. They are still in denial na you know people like that, di ba? And yun nga, around that time I experienced bullying when I was in college, first year and second year, up to the time na tawag dito, nag-shipboard training. When you say shipboard training, parang OJT. After 2 years of academics inside the academy, nag-shipboard. So during the shipboard, ayun na, parang feeling ko, we're outside of the academy, the premise of the academy already eh. So parang civilian na kami, ganyan, nasa barko kami sa may Manila Bay. And during around that time, ayan na yung Friendster time pa yan, naalala niyo yung Friendster, ganyan. So may mga nakaka-chat ako, ganyan, technology. So may mga nakaka-chat ako, and during our shore leave, we call it shore leave. Pag shore leave mo, pag may mga weekend na labas, ayun na yung opportunity for me to meet people. So, I was very mapusok noong time na yon. Kasi around that time then, during my OJT, I just turned 18. And sabi ko, nung 18 years old na ako, parang legal age na ako. So, lahat ng mga malicious, mga lustful thoughts ko nung mga lumalaki ako, doon na nag-manifest. Kasi sabi ko, sarili ko, 18 years old na ako, legal age na. So, nung time na yon, because of the technology, pag may weekend, to chat mo lang, meet, ganyan, di ba? And then, minsan, very risky talaga yung behavior ko nung time na yon. Kasi, alam mo yung makatinginan mo lang, tapos, may place, ganyan, alam mo yan, instant hook up. Very, very risky at the age of 18 nung time na yon. So, if I can remember, there were about 5 unprotected sexual encounters of the same sex nung time na yon. That was 2009. And then, ayan na, medical na namin kasi pasakay na kami ng barko internationally. And when you go for international OJT, as part of the requirement, you have to undergo the pre-employment medical examination na tinatawag nila. Pag mga OFW, mga seaman, really is part of the requirement. So during my medical nung time na yon, I was with my classmates because as seafarers or cadets ang tawag namin, we go around together eh. Di ba parang pag mga bata kayo, sabay-sabay kayo nagpapamedical, sabay-sabay kayo nagpupunta na mall. So, ganun, pabebe pa, ng mga time na yun. So, nung mga pabebe days namin, sila, prior to the medical, nagkakat na sila ng smoking nila, nagkakat na sila ng mga bisyo nila. Ako naman, because I know in myself, I don't have any vice. Pero, alam mo yun, even in my mind, hindi ko alam na pwedeng mangyari sa akin yun. Because, during my college days, we have a subject, general psychology with HIV and AIDS. It's part of the curriculum. But then again, it was just highlighted for about a few hours. Tama ba? I don't know if meron kayong ganung subject, general psychology, or SOCSI, ganyan. Pero may mga ganyan na rin. Pero parang feeling ko sa mga, sa mga sex worker mo lang nakukuha. No? So feeling ko far-fetched sa akin, malayo mangyari sa akin. Then, we had our medical. I was together with my classmates in UN, Calao. So, nagpa-medical kami. And sabi sa akin ng doktor, nung medtech lang, it was a medtech there, told me na, Sir, papadala po yung dugo niyo sa San Lazaro. Sabi ko, bakit? Sabi niya, Sir, kasi nag-reactive for HIV. So, nung time na yon, grabe, there were a lot of people, corridor lang siya. So, it was, hindi siya properly na-disclose sa akin. And, so sabi ko, okay, si Best naman masyadong nag-a-announce masyado. Grabe. So, okay. Pero nung time na sinabi niya sa akin yun, doon na nag-flashback sa akin yung mga exposures ko, yung mga ginawa kong mga very risky na mga And, I was really, parang aloof ako nung time na yun. Usapan namin ng mga classmates ko, makikita kami sa McDo, Bocobo, UN, sa may Casino Filipino, doon sa may McDo doon. So, we were there. Pagbalik ko doon, umiiyak na ako. Nanginginig ako, ganyan. Tapos sabi nila, ako kasi yung comedy sa batch namin eh. Comedy ako, ganyan. Di ba, pagbading, di ba, life of the parang clown, ganyan. So, ako yung parang So, ba't ko umiiyak, ganyan. So, sabi ko, nag-reactive ako sa HIV. Out of the abundance of my heart, noong time na yun, kasi kakasabi lang sa akin eh. So, sinabi ko sa kanila. So, noong time na yun, yung nanay, di ba, ganyan. Kada oras may tawag, No, nanay ko, tawag siya sa akin. I remember I was sitting, nasabi ko sa kanya via phone, na ganun nga yung nangyari. So, it was just over the phone that I disclosed to my mother. And, ayun nga, I was really sad nung time na yun. Kasi, unang naisip ko is about my life. No, it's about my life. Kasi I was still very young back then. I was just 19. And as a 19 years old, full of dreams, tama ba? Yun yung time na nangangarap ka, yung inaral mong mga subject finally, pasakay ka na, yung mga, actually may maleta na ako ng time na bumili na ako ng medyas, tulong-tulong yung mga tito ko, tita ko. Kasi we're not that well off eh. So, yun, tulong-tulong sila just for me to be able to give back to my parents. No? My parents are both quite old. So, finally, sabi ko, pagkakataon ko nang makatulong sa pamilya. And panganay ako, by the way. So, ayun, grabe lang yung, I was really, kumbaga, durog na durog. No? Durog na durog on a lot of aspects. No? I experienced, around that time, it was 5 months. 5 months ako umiiyak. 5 months talaga ako umiiyak. Unlimited. I don't know kung saan nagagaling yung luha. I don't know. Grabe, madaling araw, gigising na lang. Kasi utak ko keeps on wallowing about the future. Keeps on, alam mo yun, yung mga what if. And alam mo, napaparanoid ka minsan. You look at yourself, pumapayat na ba ako? You look at yourself in the mirror. Parang alam mo yun, yung self-image mo talagang na-challenge to that around that time. And 5 months talaga, January to May. No, January 2010, I was confirmed. Na-confirm ako dun sa, because sabi nga ni Doc kanina, meron tayong 2 weeks na bago ma-confirm yung dugo mo. So, pinadala siya sa San Lazaro. And, grabe lang, no? Mga paranoid ka kasi around that time, habang naghihintay ako, Catholic pa ako ng time, punta kami ng Manawag, punta kami ng, yung mga itlog-itlog, yung mga ganyan, no? So, noong time na yun, lahat ng simbahan siguro napunta ako na, and I was with my mother. So, it was really a precious moment in my life na, alam mo yun, sa mga Catholic church, meron yung mga chapel ba yun, yung mga wherein you could just lay there and just pray. Grabe, tambay talaga ako doon. Sobrang tambay ako doon. And, wala akong ibang bukong bibig kundi si Lord. Madaling araw, Lord, 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 Lord. And then, ayun. One time, I have this friend na online friend ko lang siya from Friendster to Facebook kasi 2010 was the kumbaga renaissance of Facebook na yung time na lumabas siya. And I have this friend whom I think is I believe is also gay, but then again his name is JP. So yun. So he's my friend. He's still active in church, no? I'm very thankful for that guy because he invited me to the church. It was around June. Maulan nga nung time na yun, maulan. And sabi ko, sa UP Diliman, hindi naman ako pupunta ng UP Diliman kasi taga-Caloocan ako. Although taga-Caloocan ako, home person kasi ako. So, sige, punta ako ng UP Diliman, I remember. And ayun, when I went there sa Sunday service, it was Pastor Carlo who was preaching. And grabe lang talaga yung iba siya, no? Iba siya. As in, legit. Sabi niya, legit talaga, sabi niya. Grabe, the presence of the Lord was grabe. And at the end of the service, ayun, parang hindi pa ata ako nag-altar call noon. Parang it took me the following week to surrender my life to the Lord. So, actually, hindi yun yung unang meeting namin ni Kuya JP. Nanonood muna kami ng sine sa Mega Mall. Kasi akala ko nga, parang, around that time, I'm trying to divert my attention. Kasi in denial pa ako eh. My friends were calling me. I'm shutting my phone. No, I don't answer calls. Kasi when you're hurting, diba, you tend to push people away. Because you don't know who is there for you or just willing to make chismis about your life or makisaw-saw lang sa kung nangyayari sa'yo. So my instructors were calling me. My friends were calling me. One by one, they were already going on board. Sumasakay na sila sa barko hanggang sa ako, na-disregard na ako. And ayun nga, one time, JP and I went to watch a movie prior to the church the next day. And akala ko nga, dahil, ayun nga, I was trying to divert my attention, no? Akala ko love life, ganyan. Ayun pala, no? Nakay Lord pala siya. Buti na lang nakay Lord si Kuya JP, diba? Grabe. So, masaya yun. And yung senior ko sa MAAP, kasi sa academy, is Kuya Mark Chodoro. He's the one who is playing the guitar madalas. So, si Kuya Mark, matagal ko siyang kalala. Ayun. So, around that time, grabe lang. I attended the encounter. And again, legit, di ba? Sarap. So, nung time na yun, grabe yung encounter, no? Some of yung mga kasabayan ko mag-encounter, dito pa rin sila. That was August of 2010. And, grabe yung time na yun sa buhay ko. Kasi, really, it was, character building days, no? Unti-unting inayos ni Lord yung self-image ko. unti-unti niyang tinatanggal yung mga dapat tanggalin. And grabe, sobrang durog talaga. And I really get to see kung paano ako i-fix ng Panginoon. Yung, alam mo yun, yung parang fix you, ganyan. Yung ganyan drama, ganong emote. So, yeah, fix, dahan-dahan. Financially, lahat, wala kasi talaga kasi both my parents are, my father, akala niya, ako na isasakay ng barko, kaya he already decided to stop going on board. So financially, wala kami. And around that time talaga, I look forward to Sunday service talaga. Wala akong pamasahe, nagbebenta ako ng mga bote-bote. Alam mo yun, parang yung the way I treated myself because of during my diagnosis, parang I look at myself very lowly. Bumaba yung tingin ko talaga sa sarili ko. But then again, andun yung triumphant spirit na andun yung grace ng Panginoon na alam mo yun, every week you do life group, no? I do life group sa UP, sa UST, lahat na school, WCC, punta kami doon. Kahit wala akong alam, di ako marunong mag-gitara, so mag-life group kami, masaya. Sobrang saya. Sobra. Diba? It was some of the best and worst days of my life. Kasi alam mo yun? Diba? And then, sa company ko naman, I was sponsored by a shipping company. It's a Danish company, shipping line. So, sila naman, dinisregard na nila ako and they don't know what to do with me because I was the first case during that time. First case nila ng cadet or a student na naging HIV positive. So, they reviewed laws, legal things when it comes to HIV. So, it took them years, 2010, 2011, before they were able to finally decide. No, around that time talaga na-test yung perseverance ko ng time na yun. Kasi years Every time I go there, most of the time I'm with my mother. And alam mo yung pagpupunta ka sa opisina, lahat ng mata nakatingin sa'yo. Although, alam mo, confidential siya, top management lang dapat yung nakakaalam. Pero pag pupunta ka doon, parang iba yung tingin ng mga tao sa'yo. So, ayun. And the medical clinic wouldn't give me a fit to work na medical certificate because, ayun nga, reactive for HIV. So, it was a ping-pong thing na ginagawa nila. Pasa dito, pasa dyan. And yung academy ko naman, may academy wouldn't allow me to go back there because hindi pa ako nakasakay ng barko. So, silang tatlo, yung academy, yung clinic, tsaka yung sponsoring company ko, pasa-pasa lang sila. And really, yung seeds of rejection was planted in my heart. No? And thank God talaga, because during that time, if wala ang Panginoon, wala akong lakas to really rise above all those things. So by God's grace, grabe yung time na yun. And eventually by 2012, I was on board. It was the fulfillment of the promise of the Lord. No, I went on board. Finally, they gave me the freedom to go on board. I was positive na time na yun, and I remember I testified in the church ng time na yun. And grabe, ang saya kasi na-fulfill yung it's a miracle. It's the first time that somebody who is HIV positive na makasakay ng barko. It's groundbreaking in the industry and as well as personally sa buhay ko. And it's all by God's grace nung time. No, it's all by God's grace. So, I was on board for a year. I brought my supply of medicine. No, bulk yun na supply of medicine. And on board, I received no special treatment naman. And pagbaba ko, actually, mas tumaas pa yung CD4 ko nung pagbaba ko. Mas tumaba ako, mas masaya. No? I was keeping in touch with the leaders in the church. And masaya, sobrang saya. And then eventually, I took the board exam. I finished my college. And then I got my license as an officer sa barko. So, I'm already an officer, third mate sa barko. And I went on board, if you're familiar with Captain Phillips, yung pelikulang na pirata yung barko, I went on board there. So, ayun, masaya. Afterwards, bumalik ako sa church, syempre. And, ayun, I serve as a training director in a training center for about 2 years. I was the youngest training director for a maritime institution sa buong Pilipinas noong time na yun. So it was 2 years. So parang okay na, 'di ba? Parang okay na. But then again, there's this big, hairy, audacious na conviction in my heart telling me that parang it's a betrayal of my potential na healthy pa naman ako. Bakit ako magsisettle sa land-based job, no? I have to go on board again. So when I try to went back on board again, yung mga top management sa company, nagpalit na, bago na. So they don't know about my case. So that's the time that I send an email to an international human rights organization. So I send an email to London. Then around that time, dumating din sila dito sa Pilipinas. And then that's the time na I got to be involved in the advocacy already. Because personal yung pinanggagalingan eh. So since then, that was 2015, I'm starting to be invited in conferences, conventions, and seminars here and outside of the country. So, ayun, I started to speak. And then eventually, yun nga, just this February, we put up the NGO. It's a support group, a network of HIV-positive seafarers, because there are a lot of HIV-positive seafarers who doesn't have a voice, walang boses. Automatically, pag na-diagnose sila, tatahimik na lang sila. So, we put up that NGO, and I'm learning a lot personally in this journey. Sobrang ang dami kong natutunan because of my diagnosis, no? And sobra kasi it's more than the physical, more than the medical thing. I think it does a lot to your heart and to your mind, no? And ang challenges ko lang ngayon is because parang I tried to be guarded, I tried to be so strong. So parang feeling ko wala na ata akong chance magka-love life, ganyan. So yun, so parang sabi ko si Sasa, kay na lang, kay Allen na lang. Kaya sabi ko, sige, okay lang. So sabi ko, hindi kasi crush ko kasi yan si Sasa. So, ayun, so masaya. Ganyan lang. So feeling ko wala na akong love life, ganyan. Gulat ba kayo? Boom, sorry, medyo lang Sabi ko sa inyo, ako eh. Talaga ako, ay sorry. Talaga ako, casual lang ako, very casual ako na tao. I'm honest like that. And so feeling ko di na ako magkaka-love life kasi parang masyado ako naging strong. Yung guarded ka masyado. Yung parang people think that aloof ka, ganyan. Pero hindi naman. I'm very friendly. Ayan lang. Really, some of the lessons really is to not really quit on life. Don't quit on life. Don't quit on your dreams. No, the pain that you're feeling is actually the strength of your tomorrow. No, and really, it's all by grace of God. You cannot do it alone. Everything, alam naman natin yan, no? Diba? For I know the plans I have for you. No, declares the Lord. And may plano ang Panginoon. Although, constantly yun talaga yung pinahahawakan ko. Kahit na pag wala akong pera, pag hindi ko alam yung nangyayari sa buhay ko, pag feeling ko pumapayat ako, pag feeling ko may mga napaparanoid ako, for I know the plans I have for you. Ganun lang. And grabe, masaya. Masaya, masarap. Masarap madurog. Masarap din mabuo. No? Diba? Ang sarap madurog, ang sarap mabuo. I don't have anything more to say. Just praise God. Salamat. Salamat po.
Thank you. Wow. Ang gaganda, no? Sarap pakinggan. Tama ba? Sige, let's invite, this is our Q&A already. So, let's invite Doc Armin on stage. Sige na, Armin. Kamahiya. Doc Armin Jebsen and the President of Pinoy Plus, Mr. Owen, if you have questions also with him. And then, si Sir Joel, okay lang po ba? Of the QC Health Office. If you have questions regarding, specific questions regarding the testing, the screening, so we're gonna give you the time for that. If you're shy to talk about it, like meron ka mga questions na nahihiya kang humawak ng mic, RG will be distributing papers, and you can write your questions there. And then secretly you can pass it, you can give it to him, and then I'm gonna read it. Okay? So ako yung magko-question for you guys. Okay? Okay lang? Sige, ako yung unang magtatanong. Sino na makakasagot, no? Kasi actually, tinanong ko to kanina kay Armin. Sabi ko kay Armin, parang, can a person with HIV have a kid? Diba? Pwede ba siyang magkaasawa? Can he enjoy a healthy sexual life? And can he have a kid? And then, what is the percentage that the kid will have an HIV? So, ano yung mga precautions? So, anyway, iyon. Okay, Doc.
So, yung first, yung sexually active, kung may sex life pa sila.
Within the bonds of marriage, pwede ba silang mag-asawa?
Yes.
And,
di ba nga, people living with HIV, treat them as normal people. So, pwede sila magkaasawa, tapos pwede din sila magkaanak. But there are precautions, especially with medyo mahirap kasi siyang explain regarding kung, for example, if ever yung husband yung positive, tapos yung
si wife's
negative. So, kapag isa kasi sa kanila is positive, tinatawag mo yung zero discordant yan. So, pwede pa din yun. So, there are ways para merong mga sexual maneuver na tinatawag para magkaroon ng lesser risk of infection. Tapos, for example, yun nga, kung magbubuntis yung mom, I'm not sure kung nagbibigay na sila ng PrEP dito. PrEP. So, pwedeng may tinatawag kasi na pre-exposure prophylaxis. So, ibig sabihin, meron kasing gamot para maiwasan mag-replicate yung virus. So, pwedeng ibigay yun dun sa mom, tapos may precautions. Tapos nung baby, pagkasilang nung baby, din siya, is-subject siya to testing, tapos yun. Medyo mahirap siyang process, pero pwedeng magkaroon ng anak basta pwede silang magkaroon ng anak.
Okay. Thank you. May question? Okay. Si Sir.
Good morning po sa lahat. I'm August po from Alabang. My question is for the City Health, sir, or anybody from na nasa stage. Actually, I have a series of questions, but later na lang po yung iba. The first question is, paano po yung nagiging sistema po, di ba po, pag nagpapatest po tayo sa mga hubs, ang allowed lang pong magpatest is 18 years old and above. But according to the statistics this year, nagkaroon po tayo ng cases na below 15 years old. And paano nyo po kinikater yon if for example, the millennials nowadays are very risky in terms of having so much knowledge about sex and other sexual activities. Now, how can you handle young people na gustong magpa-test, lalong-lalo na pag risky sila?
So, that's without, 18 below without consent. Can we do that?
Yes, dapat. Ang batas kasi ngayon, below 18, dapat may consent with the parents. Kung wala yung parents, social worker. Tapos merong lumalabas na ginagawa po yung mga proxy consent. Pwede na po yung physician.
Okay.
Oo.
Yes.
Tapos kasi abang pinaglalaban pa kasi, ang gusto ng batas kasi, ng mga NGO, ng advocate, sana 15 years old to 17, kahit wala ng consent. Kasi minsan, hindi naman kasi mag-o-open yung mga taong 15 years old. Ang hindi mag-o-open sa magulang. Mabuti kung close kayo at mag-o-open, yan yung isang issue rin po. Kaya inaano natin sana social worker. Mas maganda sana priority yung parents sa social worker kung wala yung doctor. Kasi nga, ihintayin pa ba natin na dumating na nasa AIDS case na sila bago natin itetest? Yun. Tapos, yun, parang i-explain din sa magulang kung ano yung testing na procedure. Yun yung inaano po mo.
So, in addition dun sa question mo, so as a doctor din, since under pediatric age pa kasi sila, merong stage na pedia na parang pwede na silang mag-decide for themselves. Siguro around 12 to 13 years old. So kapag voluntary naman na sinabi nung patient na, for example, 16-year-old, I want to be tested for HIV, sinabi niya dun sa doctor, the doctor can consent for him. Kasi nasa mindful, tsaka meron na siyang voluntary, tapos nasa sound mind naman siya. So the doctor can vouch for him for the consent.
Without the parents, without the parents' approval. So parang secret nila ng doctor and okay.
Sa doctor pwede, pero I don't know with the setting of the health center.
Social worker pwede, di ba?
Social worker sa company. Sa ngayon kasi medyo yung availability kasi we have 6 clinics here in Quezon City na pwede nilang puntahan. Ang availability kasi ng mga social worker medyo busy rin. So pero ini-schedule naman natin. Pero doon sa proxy, sabi ni Doc, pwede sa doctor na ina-allowed na. Nung may mga meetings silang ginagawa na yung proxy consent, pwede na yung physician.
So medyo nasa gray zone yung 15 to 17, no? But maganda na may mga na tayo sa law natin na may mga proxy na. Kasi ako personally nakapag na ako ng consent. Oo. So next. Ayan. Si muna, Jonathan.
Question ko about sa virus. Ano yung origin niya? O saan siya galing? Paano siya nakukuha? Sorry.
Historical ba ito?
Saan galing yung HIV? Kasi alam lang namin is through sexual intercourse with multiple partners, through needles. Ibig sabihin, someone is infected. So, paano na-infect yung someone na yun without yung mga ganun-ganun? So, saan galing yung virus?
So, the index case. We're looking at the first case, yun ba yun? The first ever human case, saan daw galing? So, historical siya.
San Francisco yung unang case, sa California. 1981.
Ano yung cause niya? Bakit siya naging HIV?
Mukhang mas alam ni Sir.
Kasi ako ang alam ko the known is like monkey.
Alam ko kasi sa primate din.
From sexual intercourse with a man and a monkey. So is it right?
Yes. Tapos
yeah, it's promiscuity pa rin.
Around 1981. Tapos they discovered it in San Francisco. So yun nga, bakit kasi marami yung mga, as I mentioned, bakit yung mga around 20, 30s nagkakaroon ng pneumonia, severe pneumonia, and then napansin nila among gay people. Tapos, until inaral nila, na-discover nila yung HIV. At saka at that time, parang hindi pa HIV yung term Parang gay-related infectious disease.
Wow. Gay-related infectious GRID.
Ayun. So, kaya dun siya nag-start. So, kaya from the start na discover siya, may stigma na talaga.
Kasi yung pangalan mismo ng disease is gay-related, no? Okay. Sinong next? Si Carl.
Actually po, nasagot niyo na po yung tatanong ko. Pero yung second question ko po is, ano po yung vitamins na pinakakailangan para po dun sa ginagamit na treatment? Di ba po meron pong treatment? Ano po yung vitamins na makukuha doon para doon sa yung ginagamit na treatment?
Doon sa mga nagtitake. So, yun yung tinatawag na kung may mga vitamins pa ba in addition to the antiretroviral. Wala naman. Just balanced diet. Kasi kung, parang lang naman yun yung mga vitamins, it's adjunct for your immune system.
Additional lang
siya. So, additional siya. Pero if you're eating right, exercise daily, no need to take vitamins.
Okay, so isang question lang, follow-up. Vitamin B, high-dose vitamin B. Does it help?
For the immune system. Pero not totally dun sa virus and CD4.
Okay.
For the health in general.
Si Richard.
Doc, ask ko lang po, there's a possibilities po ba na you can get HIV in your own? Kunyari po sa isang taong addicted sa isang masturbation po.
Masturbation.
May kasama ba siyang nagmamasturbate? Hindi.
Basta hindi ka infected, pero kung infected ka with HIV, di ba? I mean, in the first place. Tama? RC.
Kay Brother Jepsen. Tanong ko lang, considering lahat na nangyari sa'yo because of HIV and what happened to you to the Lord, given the choice, would you have chosen na hindi ka na-infect ng HIV?
Binibining Pilipinas, Bes? Masyado naman.
Mr. Philippines, question.
Hindi, oo nga, no? If may mga regrets. Kasi, I think, wala. It as is, ganun. Though, sobrang sakit niya, and constantly, alam mo, you are reminded of your status. But then again, I've grown a lot and known the Lord, of course. That's the best thing, no? Knowing the Lord through the process. Yan lang.
Okay. May follow-up si
Pasensya na po, ang dami ko po kasing tanong. The next question is, what if you have a partner and your partner is HIV positive and you are also an HIV positive, okay lang na mag-sex kayo lagi?
HIV to HIV. Tanggap nyo na sa isa't isa. So, unli na ba to? Yun na yun.
Sige.
Sir Owen.
Yes, even naman na doctor ay hindi naman sila nagbabawal na makipagtalik. As long as na maging responsable sila sa sarili nila na kung ang positive. Kasi hindi lang namang HIV pinag-usapan natin dito eh. Kunwari, ang isa ay may syphilis or may Hep B. So, kailangan pa rin yung protection. Pero hindi naman sila pinagbabawalan na makipagtalik. Pero dapat maging responsable sa sarili nila.
Yeah, I agree, no? Hindi lang HIV, no? Maya-maya may sugat pala yung niya. So, kung only, man kayo, may dagdag pa, may herpes pa siya, may gonorrhea ka pa. Sige. Ito, Doc, may question. Kung sino na lang pong sasagot, no? If I test positive, should I also tell my previous sexual partners and advise them to get tested as well? And what is the best course of action to communicate this to them? So I think yung parang hindi naman nakakahiya na paano daw nila sasabihin? Meron na po ba kayong mga naging sa
encounter namin sa organization ang case-to-case basis po kasi yan. Kasi ngayon sa case po kasi ngayon, hindi na mabigat sa usapin yung HIV. Pagdating sa disclosures, mas mahirap i-disclose, lalo sa family, yung status ng pagkatao mo. Kunwari, kung ang sabi nga ni Jepsen kanina, parang ang lalaki ng dating sundalo o pulis yung tatay, ang hirap i-disclose ang sexuality mo kaysa yung HIV na i-disclose mo.
Sa mga previous sexual partners niya daw ba? Paano niya masasabi?
Actually kasi bawal po sa batas yung contact tracing. Nasa RA 8504 naman yon. Pero may mga ginagawa, tulad ng mga iba't ibang organization, ay ang ginagawa nila, kalalo ka sa partner mo, kung partner mo yan, mas malakas ang loob mo, kung mahal mo siya, mas maganda na ma-i-disclose mo. Kung di mo kayang i-disclose, meron tayong mga treatment hub ng mga doctors o mga support group na willing tumulong kung paano yung disclosure na gagawin. And the second, yung meron ng organization na ang ginagawa nila, kunwari, ako may nakatalik at positibo ako sa HIV. Ang ginagawa namin, bumili kami ng SIM card. So, iti-text namin sila, yan, nakasex mo ako kagabi, bago gusto mong magpatest. So, para kung ang isang tao, magkakaroon ng idea nga, baka HIV positive na rin ako. Para magandang para hindi mo, kung may takot ka sa sarili mo, i-disclose sarili mo, ganun ang gagawin mo. Pag, ka na, SIM card, ano ba naman yung SIM card ngayon, di ba?
No, I mean, may entity of na may entity na hindi niya alam na ikaw yung nag-text, parang ganon. Pwede rin yun. Doc Armin, meron ka bang suggestion?
In addition kasi, yun nga, dun sa law din kasi, yung pre-test and post-test counseling. So, dun, nakasakop yun dun sa post-test counseling. So, kapag kinuha kasi nung patient yung result niya, if he tested or she is tested positive, ang trabaho ng counselor, hindi lang sasabihin niya, positive ka. So, there are a series of things na kailangan niya i-discuss. So, actually, kung magiging in detail tayo, kailangan niya assess pa nung counselor kung matatanggap ba niya yung resulta kung malaman niya. Parang gano'n. Pero to summarize, kasama kasi sa post-test counseling is yun nga, yung prevention, tapos hindi man actually contact tracing, is like yung dapat yung nag-test ng positive, he should be responsible also kung parang i-invite niya yung mga naging partner niya para magpa-screen din.
Okay. So, ikaw yung responsable dun sa mga nakapartner mo. Kasi since ikaw naman yung nagkalat nun. No.
And yun nga kasi,
siya naman ang diba? I mean, pero may mga pasyente kasi, may mga na that they really don't. Kasi nga, yun nga yung stigma nga Kaya ngayon, ang gusto natin, tanggalin yung stigma nga na okay lang, sabihin mo, kasi concern yun sa ibang tao. Tama?
Yes. At saka kasi since the result kasi is confidential.
Oo, tama.
So, kung
hindi ka pwede magsabi.
Kasi sila yung nag-contact tracing, paano, baka maano pa sila na bakit alam nila yung sinong kakontakin nila. Parang ganun. So, kaya yung may sole responsibility talaga is
yung person.
Yung person.
So, wala silang responsibilidad sa mga previous sexual partners nyo. Kayo ang may responsibility to tell it. Okay? Question. Ay, ang dami. Si ano muna, I'm gonna give ito. Si ano muna. Si Sir John.
Magandang umaga po. Ayan, so my question goes like this po. Doon po sa discussion kanina about antiretroviral drugs, sinabi po mo po, Doc, na merong disadvantage. So my questions po, what are the disadvantage of the drugs? Kasi, like for example, if I have HIV, then I take the drugs, may mga disadvantage. Pwede ako magkasakit sa ibang sa ibang way. Like for example, hindi sa akin bagay yung gamot. So magkakaroon ako ng ibang illness. So the second question, there are cases po ba na may HIV yung isang tao, nag-take ng drugs, na nagkasakit siya na hindi related doon sa HIV?
Okay,
adverse effects ng drugs.
So yun nga, as a doctor, so kapag nag-take ka ng drug, you have to expect at some point na magkakaroon ng mga adverse events yan. And since ang antiretroviral drug, hindi lang kasi isang gamot yan, there are combinations. So mostly tatlo or apat. So per gamot, iba-iba yung side effects. So ang yung mga common side effects na sinasabi mo baka illnesses, one, magkakaroon ng allergic reaction. So kapag nagkaroon ng allergic reactions, pwedeng magbigay ng ibang alternative na gamot na magiging effective din para dun sa HIV. Next, another side effect, anemia. Bababa yung pulang dugo. So yung hemoglobin mo. So ang gagawin namin doon, mag-i-inject kami para tumaas yung pulang dugo. Kasi hindi mo kasi siya pwedeng mag-ano ka dun hindi mo pwedeng tanggalin yung gamot mo Kapag tinanggal mo yun, magkakaroon ka na, magiging prone ka naman sa infection, bababa CD4 mo, tataas ang viral load. So, ang ginagawa namin, for example, kung hindi talaga siya, parang hindi makayanan ng pasyente, o hindi hiyang yung pasyente dun sa drug na yon, papalitan namin. Pero kung kaya pa niya, for example, kung anemia lang yan, magbibigay kami ng mga karagdagang gamot para maano yung adverse events niya, para ma-reverse. Parang ganun.
So, symptomatic treatment siya, no? Kasi, it's more important to be treated with HIV than, kumbaga, wala kasing perfect na gamot sa mundo, kahit naman saan, okay? So, mas important, the benefits outweighs the risk. Yun yung, okay, si Jed.
Hi, good morning. Ay, natapon. Ayan, yung question ko is regarding HIV policy in the workplace kasi I'm working in the Health and Safety Committee sa company. So, ano yung mga restrictions ng isang employer pagdating, halimbawa, they find out that an employee is HIV positive through any means, ano yung mga pwede nilang gawin at mga bawal nilang gawin? Ano yung responsibilities ng employees and as well as, ng employer? And ano yung din yung pwedeng responsibilities ng ibang employees regarding siguro dun sa discrimination, ganun. So, gusto ko lang malaman kung ano yung mga guidelines or policies na pwedeng gawin ng company namin.
Una po, kung may HIV positive sa isang company, at for example, like kasi ngayon Shell, may AIDS in the workplace sila. So, lahat, may mga law tayo na sinusunod na dapat confidential po yun. Na, for example, kung nag-open yung tao, sana maging confidential yung record. Tapos yung like Shell, may mga benefits na binibigay ang Shell. Depende sa company. Pero ang importante doon, yung confidentiality. At the same time, hindi ka dapat tatanggalin hanggang kaya mo mag-work. Ngayon, may mga kaso tayo na natatanggal, pwede po kayong lumapit ng, kung dito pa lang sa Pilipinas, yung Department of Health, yung NASPCP, National AIDS Council, National AIDS Prevention and sila yung mahawak ng pinaka-head ng DOH. Gagaya ng ginawa ni Sir yung sa ILO, isang organization din na nalapitan. Pero kung dito na sa atin, pwede na lumapit ng DOH na parang magko-complain ka, tapos yung complaint, sasagutin nila, sila na yung tutulong sa'yo para maintindihan din ng company na dapat hindi ganun ang gagawin po. Kasi parang ititreat pa rin natin yung tao as normal na walang, hindi HIV. Hindi naman magiging sagabal yan eh. Unless, siyempre kung ibang kaso na pagka nagkakalat ka, siyempre ibang, iimbestigahan na pa yon. Pero hindi ka dapat tanggalin. Kasi may mga batas po na treat all, kung ano yung hanggang kaya mo magtrabaho, tapos yung confidentiality, importante. Kasi baka kumalat yung issue.
So, dapat if you tell it to your employer, hindi niya sasabihin sa kapwa-employees mo. Tama, no?
Yes, Doc. Add-on ko lang, Doc, kasi meron po tayo, ang DOLE ay naglabas ng EO, yung DOLE 102-10. Nandun po yung policy workplace. Kaya lang, ang malungkot sa Pilipinas, parang sa lahat ng companies ay parang 5% lang yung ginagamit nila yung policy na yun. Kaya yun ang wino-work out na sana maggagamitin ng companies yun, yung policy in the workplace, yung HIV. Kasi ang nakakalungkot talaga, 5% lang yung gumagana ngayon. Merong mga workplace na meron silang HIV program, pero hindi po lahat. Kaya marami pa rin nadi-discriminate pagdating sa HIV in the workplace. Kaya naglabas po ang DOLE ng DOLE 102-10. So yun po yung policy na ginaguide nila ngayon.
Okay. So I'm gonna entertain last 2 questions because we're running out of time. Oliver.
Hi, good morning everyone. Yung question ko lang, and sabi nyo kanina, di ba, we're trying to remove the stigma of HIV. Tapos sabi natin kanina on the statistics, no, tumataas yung HIV positive. Now, provided that we don't want to go for the stigma, how do we deal with a person who we know or who we discover who are positive or going through HIV or AIDS? Parang how do we deal with them psychologically, or in Christian jargon, how do we minister to them?
I think it's more than giving sound advice. It's more on giving love and acceptance to the people. Kasi you could give them all the best quotable quotes and all. But then again, if at the end of the day, wala yung pagmamahal, genuine pagmamahal. Kasi it's one thing that allowed me to heal as well personally, because my family, my friends, yung mga tao nakapalibot sa akin, it was really loving and case-to-case basis kasi yan. And as part of the church, we really have to be the channel of love sa mga tao more than any advice, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Si Echo, question? Last question.
Curious lang, is it always 100% chance that when somebody has or had sex with a HIV positive person, that person would be infected 100% as well? Or is it not always the case?
Not always the case. Pero ayoko sabihin eh.
Ano?
Not all the time. I have a friend right now na may sexual relationship siya with his boyfriend na recently diagnosed. So, and luckily, negative pa naman yung friend ko.
So actually, ano lang din, no? Yung anak ni Sarah Jane, tama ba? One of the very first na positive sa atin, negative yung bata. 8 years old na matanda na. Teenager, and she's negative. So not always the case. May isa na lang daw. Sige, last question. Ay, yung mic, ayan. Wait lang, ha?
Good morning po. Para po kay Doc po. Ang immunotherapy po ba is advisable to the people with HIV or AIDS victim? If yes, what kind of immunotherapy treatment recommended to increase immune system to the people with HIV or AIDS victim aside from taking food supplements? Kasi marami pong ngayon may lumalabas na kung ano-anong mga immunotherapy na lumalabas tulad po ng electrical immunotherapy.
Immunotherapy.
Based sa guidelines pa din, it's still the ARVs, the antiretroviral drug na dinidiscuss ko. With the immunotherapy, you can try them, pero there are no studies that prove that they're effective. So, FDA approved. So, if it will not do harm naman dun sa patient, and sometimes kasi may psychological effect yung mga
placebo.
Mga placebo effect yung tinatawag namin na pag may tinitake ka, feeling mo gumagaling ka, why not? Pero based dun sa mga guidelines, it's still the ARV. So, yung mga immunotherapy, mga herbal, they're not proven effective pa din.
Okay. Let's wrap up. Let's give them a warm of applause.